Hi folks, it's the Salty Seaman. Um, yeah, this is not a military themed video today. I just had to get something off my chest. It's over this whole new Ghostbusters movie coming out. I mean, quite honestly, I have not seen vitriol on both sides of a movie since ever, really. I mean, Batman v Superman we just had, and we had anti Ben Affleck and anti Zack Snyder and pro DC and pro more mature versus Marvel's more kid friendly take. And yeah, you had that, but this one, I mean, I don't know. I've literally gotten big arguments with people on both sides of this for different reasons. So if you're not familiar with this, should be pretty obvious. There's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out. Surprise, surprise, there's been a gender swap. This kind of makes it different from the original. All the four Ghostbusters are female. Even their secretary's gender swapped. It's a male now. Since this was first announced and it was announced that this was going to be a female version of Ghostbusters, we immediately had a lot of people crying foul. Now, I'm not talking about people who just cry foul anytime one of their beloved movies get remade. That's always going to happen. The criticism is always valid, like, hey, Hollywood out of ideas, why do we keep remaking everything? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, those are fine. But the vitriol that came out just from the initial announcement from people claiming, PC Hollywood bullshit and, ruin a franchise, why does it got to be women? And, really, that misogynistic, sexist shit that just started spewing forth right from the announcement. Those are people who are never going to like it anyway. They're just going to be pissed off. And to be expected, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, Lord, I don't even want to read it. Because I just knew what it was going to be. Now, of course, we finally get up to the movie coming out. We start getting trailers. First trailer. I think even the more ardent supporters who wanted to do well didn't think it was the strongest trailer, but it wasn't, especially in my opinion, it wasn't the most terrible thing I'd ever seen. It was, like, okay, this could work. I was sold. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. But a lot of people started bashing it, just said, like, this is an abomination, this is terrible, these women aren't funny, this is tearing up this original movie. And then, of course, we had a second trailer come out, and opinions are still divided. There's been a lot more people coming out saying, okay, this is looking better than we first saw. But then there's other people who are still, carrying that flag, ranting and raving about, how this is terrible, this is a travesty. This all came to a head recently with a video posted by the angry video game nerd, James Rolfe. If you don't know who he is, he's a guy, he makes his own movies, he does a lot of movie reviews too, but he's most famous for doing video game reviews as the angry video game nerd. And he does a lot of movie reviews also, but he kind of came out and made this video saying, like, hey, just so you know, I'm not reviewing this movie if you're expecting me to do a review, because he reviews a lot of movies, especially those that are tied to nostalgia, which he's kind of known for. And he's also known to be a huge Ghostbusters fan. So, go watch the video itself. It's very, it's right there on his website. I didn't find it infuriating or, even makes me upset. I bottom line disagree with him and his reasons and assertions for why not he doesn't want to see it. Other than he just didn't find the trailers captivating. That part's fine. It's like, hey, the trailer didn't catch me, I'm just not going to see it. But, he said some other stuff like, he wishes, his basic core concept was if they're going to, reboot it with a new cast, they should have brought back the original cast or what's left of it, because obviously one is no longer with us, and kind of done a handoff. And, made it tie right into the original series, give these guys a good boost to start with, and then they go on and do their own thing. The second part was they should have gave it another name or a subtitle, something else than just Ghostbusters, because now it's going to confuse it with the original movie. Okay, those are his points. I don't agree with them. I personally don't. You know, it's whatever. That's your opinion, fine. But, you know, I didn't think the guy was being overly butthurt about it. I thought it was a very clear reason why he didn't want to do it. But, you know, there was a bit of a backlash from the side who have been really defending this movie and the idea of this movie, and have been really digging their heels in on one side of it. And a lot of what they're saying on the other side is just, you know, it's just sexism and this misogynistic, which exists and it's real. And those people are, you know, definitely are a problem. And they're one of those people who are rallying behind guys like James, which probably wasn't even his intent. You know, he was just stating his opinion on why he's not going to see a movie. But unfortunately, it sparked kind of this firestorm, this controversy. And there's people who defend him who, you know, are going out of their way to say, hey, this has nothing to do with the fact that their genders are reversed. This is all about what he just said. Like, I don't agree with doing this, blah, blah, blah. And some of them are right. Sometimes you get into them more on the subject. It does start coming out as like, you know, they start admitting, you know, this is, you know, PC bullshit, and, you know, there's no reason to ruin something by just changing it to make it more politically correct or whatever. And it's just, you know, and I can't stand that. But I also can't stand people on the other side who are just immediately attacking James for stating his opinion when it was nothing really butthurt or salty, as they say, or, you know, just straight accusing him of misogynistic, which there was nothing in his video that was misogynistic. You know, he mentioned that they were female in brief passing, just over the fact that, like, how else are you going to differentiate it from the original when he was talking about what the naming thing, which he didn't like. Because people are going to call it the female Ghostbusters because it's the only way to differentiate, which is a point. I don't know if it's a good point, but it is a point, but it wasn't a misogynistic point, and at no point was he being a, you know, kind of a tool about it. But at the same time, you know, both sides really need to calm the fuck down, especially the side that's defending, you know, the rights for recasting roles as women or people of color, or, you know, just wanting to see more diversity in film. Because when you start going after, you know, guys, even if you don't agree with their opinion, but they're not being overtly anything, you're just kind of giving fuel to a fire that doesn't need to be fueled up on the other side. Now, I get it, as like a lot of you just don't give a fuck. You know, you're just like, you see this shit all the time, and, you know, you're not willing to give someone like James Rolfe the beginning of the benefit of the doubt. Because why should you? You've seen this shit 100 times, you're tired of these conversations. I get it. I fucking get it. You know, sometimes I'm that way too. I'm like, I don't need to do a reasonable, logical discussion on it. It's just, this is a matter of emotion. And sometimes that's not a bad thing either. But also sometimes, you know, you need to chill the fuck out. You know, this isn't the greatest battle to fight over this guy, I think. You know, there's tons of other tools online who are doing, saying more of a disservice, who are hiding behind, you know, that reasoning. But the other underlying stuff, the more you talk to him, it finds out like, yeah, no, it is kind of PC bullshit. If you know anything about James and his website, you could watch his stuff. I mean, it's pretty obvious that's really not that guy. He's, you know, he just has his opinions about movies. I mean, this is just, I mean, I said, I've gotten, you know, I've defended James, and then I've also gone the other way, arguing with people who are just, you know, adamant that, you know, changing shit for PC does nothing but ruin anything. And, you know, the only thing I can offer to that is like, okay, so we've been better off with the original X-Men instead of going to the racially diverse cast of the all-new, all-different X-Men with Wolverine and Nightcrawler and Colossus and Storm, right? Or, you know, Nick Fury right there is like, yeah, everyone hated the fact that they changed Nick Fury to black because, well, no, there's always shit like that. You know, it's not a good argument. You know, the proof is always at the pudding. It's always at, you know, when the product comes out. And that's the other thing. This has not come out yet. We've not seen the actual movie. Maybe it does suck. I don't know. It could suck. I'm not going to say it sucked because there were women in it. I'm not going to say it sucked because, you know, just because it's not the original. You know, it's got to be viewed on its own merits. Just like I see anything new that's a redo of something I liked before. You know, I liked the first Transformers movie. I'm a huge Transformer geek, and then I thought the rest of the movies kind of blew. But, you know, at least they got it right. And, you know, I had my hesitations, but I went to see it just to check it out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. The first one, you know, it wasn't a bad little movie, the reboot, but the new one looks really good. Looks like they're really trying to cater to the old fans. Cool. Jim was a complete abortion. If you're a fan of Jim and the Holograms, boy, they really screwed that up. They had no idea what they're doing with it. You know, and I was really trying my best to be cautiously optimistic about that one, but everything I saw looked like absolute garbage, and it turned out to be garbage. On my personal opinion, this doesn't look like garbage. It looks like a pretty decent, fun movie. We'll see. But it's not written for me, really. It's, you know, obviously this is not looking too much for the nostalgia fan. This is looking for the younger audience, which kind of what Jim was doing, and they screwed it up. So they could do the same. But for what I've seen in the trailers, I don't think it's going to be that bad. But it's just my personal opinion. Everyone's going to have a personal opinion on it. And the best thing we do is just wait for the damn movie to come out. You know, everyone sheathe your swords. Let's get over it. Let's actually watch the movie and then debate the actual merits of the movie and not worry about, you know, accusing everyone of being a sexist piece of shit, not accusing Hollywood of being completely PC and, you know, doing a cash grab off the name because, I don't know, I guess the original Ghostbusters was written for charity or something. They weren't looking to make money. All movies are fucking cash grab, idiots. But anyway, that's a Salty Seaman. Tune in next time. My video is going to be on 10 things military members don't like to hear. So keep it in mind. Stay tuned. Love you guys. And I'm out. Peace. Or wait, do the Ghostbusters 2 thing. That's right. Ghostbusters 2 is awesome. The rest of you haters can suck it.